When you are going to start glazing, it's important to keep the bottom of your piece from getting glaze on it. So I have a piece here that's been glazed, hasn't been fired yet. And you can see I have no glaze on the bottom and I've cleaned the bottom up. I just used a sponge and wiped the bottom. But when you get to the point that you're going to be layering glazes or you're putting glazes on pretty thick, it's important to give yourself at least 1/4 of an inch of space. And I've got a trick here for how you can mark that. And this is for if you're applying glaze with a brush or if you're going to put on some sort of resist. So I've got a ruler and a pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my pencil on the ruler. I've got it lined up on there. And then I'm going to drag it along like this on the bottom of my piece, trying to keep my pencil steady, harder with pieces that aren't even, and I missed a spot. There we go. So now, if I can get the lighting to look okay, there we go. I've got a pencil line all the way around. It's not gorgeous, but it's nice and even. Happens to be right about where I have a bend in, where I have the end of my decoration and stuff. You can see there on the handle, it gets onto the handle itself. But that's the area that I'm going to either not put any glaze in the first place, or I'm gonna paint wax resist or tape. You can use masking tape, or I can also use Elmer's glue. So if you don't have wax resist, which you probably just don't randomly have wax resist, you can use something like Elmer's glue there. Now, as soon as you get that Elmer's glue on, it's going to be stuck there and it's not going to go away. So make sure that anywhere you're putting that, you want it there. If you're using tape, it's really easy to fix. If you're using a sponge to just wipe it away, that's fine too. When you are applying glaze, so a lot of the videos that are in the clay studio, I made them years ago, a couple of years ago, or a year or two ago, and those I made for dipped glazes. It is a lot easier to get too much glaze when you're dipping. It's a lot easier to get too little glaze when you're brushing. And so you're going to be brushing your glazes. These, if you read them, they say that you want 3 coats. It has a little explanation on there. I think it does. Yep. Apply 3 coats of glaze to your bisque. Let glaze dry completely between coats. And so if you do that, if you put on a coat and then take a moment, it won't take very long for it to dry, and then put on another coat, particularly if you cross the brushes, go down for 1 coat and then go sideways for another coat, you're going to get enough glaze. But most of the time, I think people put too little glaze on. Now I say that and we're going to have people who put too much on, but if you use a combination of keeping it off the bottom, keeping it about 1/4 of an inch away from the bottom, and also, you using those 3 coats, you should end up with a good even application. You are welcome, as we saw in the test tiles, you are welcome to layer glazes. And so I didn't think to bring these over here, but I'm going to walk us over here. So if you've got your test tiles that you've tested glaze on, or if you're looking at mine, you can see that at least one of these test tiles tends to move quite a bit. The cola green glaze tends to move. So you are totally welcome to layer your glazes over the top of one another. But beware, if you do that, if you layer those glazes together, they're going to run a little bit more. So layering glaze is a good thing to do near the top, but not near the bottom of your glaze. Inside, but maybe not outside at the bottom. Thanks.